Okay, so hi. It's been a pretty decent amount of time since I've been on this channel, and I actually want to start making content because it seems pretty fun, and I've been inspired by other content creators to actually start because I don't really feel like working a normal job in the future, and I would like to do this because it's way more fun in my opinion. So, yeah. Okay, now to the subject matter of the video. 1 billion bears versus every single Transformer. So I feel some of y'all think this might be a little unfair, but I'll make it much more fair. Okay, so first off, I'm not going to be using any of the Titans. So Unicron, the Arc, people like that, I'm not going to be using because that's just not fair. Like, Unicron alone could solo a billion bears, so I'm not going to use him. And before any of y'all think that this is some hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby, I could probably take a Transformer in a fight. Watch this. I've also achieved a crippling addiction to buying Transformers figures, which has impacted my wallet greatly. Okay, enough stalling. Now let's actually get into the meat of the video. Okay, now in my opinion, this is why one of every Transformer would absolutely dog walk 1 billion bears. And I really don't think it's close when I put it into this perspective. Alright, think of it this way. What is the average height of a male grizzly bear? The average height for a male grizzly bear is around 8 feet tall, and they can weigh up to around 700 pounds, with the average being 400 to 600 pounds. Now, to be fair, that's extremely oppressive, but when you're going against the Transformers, which on average are around 30 feet tall and can be even bigger, especially if you use some of the primes compared to the regular Transformers, that's really nothing in comparison. Okay, to give some credit to the Bears because they really need some right now. 1 billion is genuinely such a big number. I don't think most of the people in this video completely understand how big of a difference there is between 1 billion and 1 million. As you can clearly see here, there is a massive difference in between the sizes. For the 1000, it's a third gen iPod Nano is how much 1000 stacked up is. 1 million is the size of a skyscraper, which is crazy. And then 1 billion goes into space. Like you couldn't breathe up there because of how high it is. That's outside of the atmosphere. Now that is like dollars. Now picture bears who are as big as I discussed earlier. So that's just like how much they are combined. So for reference, this battle is going to be taking place in an alternate dimension, and it's just going to be a flat plane, nothing there. Completely just like barren, like a super flat Minecraft world. It'll have everything the bears need to survive, and the Transformers don't really need anything to eat because they just live off of Energon. But though there will be like some spare Energon and like a vending machine or something. I don't know. So there. That's the battlefield, and here's how it's probably going to work. I'm going to go over the main combatants for the Transformers and who probably has the best chance at taking out most of the bears, and we can go on from there after that. So the first Transformer I want to be discussing right now is the GOAT himself, Ultra Magnus.
You said the Matrix would light our darkest hour.
Alright, enough of that. Alright, so Magnus is around 22 feet tall and around 7 meters for all you non-Americans. And doing some quick math, Magnus being 22 feet tall and the average bear being 8 feet tall, Magnus is around the height of 2.75 or 2 and 3/4 bears tall. I hope that puts into perspective just how big the bears are and how many of them 1 billion really is. I'm now going to go into why I think Magnus is one of the better choices when it comes to defeating a lot of bears. And one of the main reasons I think he's helpful is a reason I think a lot of them or a lot of the Transformers are going to be helpful is crowd control. Crowd control is really helpful for a lot of characters in these type situations. Like in another video I watched every JoJo stand versus 1 billion lions. One of the main points for the JoJo stands is that single target stands are not as useful as AoE stands or area of effect stands. So a stand like Star Platinum, yes, while he is strong, he can only really target one line at a time instead of several lines at a time, like another stand such as Purple Haze or Sea Moon. So in theory, a single target defender stand such as Star Platinum could be more helpful in a one-on-one fight rather than an AoE stand, like I said earlier, Purple Haze or Sea Moon. Generally, in these big group fight scenarios, single target defenders aren't ever as helpful, unfortunately, unless they have some busted side ability like Star Platinum being able to stop time. But again, that only does so much. And for those of you wondering why I'm not abbreviating single target defender, yeah, that's why. Alright, enough of my rambling. As the reason I think Ultra Magnus is really helpful is his arsenal. His main weapon in most continuities is his Great Hammer. A Great Hammer, in my opinion, is more helpful than a simple sword or gun, in my opinion, is because it can hit multiple at once, has a very large, like, blunt force effect to it, and is massive, usually being depicted as bigger than Magnus himself, who I already discussed is around 22 feet tall. That's pretty big and can do a decent amount of damage. And on top of that, his alt mode or his transformation is a giant carrier truck. So on top of that, he could probably just run over a decent amount of lions and commit vehicular manslaughter to a decent portion of them compared to some others. I'm also going to be taking into effect the Transformers alt modes because a lot of them can help him out in these situations. But unfortunately for some Transformers like Bumblebee and Wheeljack, they just turn into simple cars. The Transformers that turn into bigger objects like Optimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, Megatron, people like that, they're going to have a lot more help with their alt modes that they can use in the fight. And another main reason I wanted to point out Ultra Magnus is because he's my favorite Transformer, and I'm biased. Now to the next one.
You are either lying or you're stupid. I'm stupid.
So the next big contenders for Team Transformers, I believe, is the Seekers. The Seekers are a faction of the Decepticons where they are all just recolored Starscreams pretty much, but they are a class of Decepticon that all turn into fighter jets. While I believe they would all be useful in their own, the main ones I want to be talking about in the Seekers is the Rainmakers plus Thundercracker, even though he's not a Rainmaker, he would just help a lot. Now, the Rainmakers consist of Ion Storm, Acid Storm, and Nova Storm. The reason they are called the Rainmakers is because of the projectiles they shoot are like rain, but they have different elemental properties to them, and they are exceptional at crowd control. Ion Storm's power is he's able to shoot EMP projectiles and electricity pretty much. Acid Storm does the same thing, but with acid and poison. And Nova Storm essentially does the same with fire and like sun ability, like solar attacks pretty much. And well, there is Sunstorm, but we don't really talk about him because I don't know if he's canon or not, but whatever. And Thundercracker, even though he's not a Rainmaker, he's still a Seeker, and he can create sonic booms and can move really fast on top of that, so I feel like he'd be able to help out as well. Unfortunately for the other Seekers, the main ones, Starscream and Skywarp, don't really help out as much, and the Conehead Seekers, Thrust, Dirge, and Ramjet, don't really have any crazy amount of AoE stuff or crowd control like the others I just discussed. And I don't really think Dirge would want to fight anyway because he kind of hates everything, but that's just him. The reason I bring up the Rainmakers is in the episode they were in and in the comics, when they all attack at once, they create this EMP style rain that ends up damaging the Autobots and makes them short circuit. Now, I am fully aware that unless the bears are like a Maximal or something like that, or from Beast Wars, they're not, then they won't be affected by this rain, but I believe they could still be damaged by it because it's projectiles shot from them. Like they shoot the same stuff out of their null rays, which are the cannons that you see on the arms of the Seekers. They're still firing it, and yes, they won't be affected by the EMP. They're still going to be damaged by it because they're shooting it at them like a normal projectile. And with Thundercracker, sonic booms are extremely loud, and I can guarantee you, with a bear's ears, that sonic boom will absolutely disorient them and probably give them some kind of like extreme chronic headache that I can guarantee you they would struggle to fight afterwards if they were to hit with a sonic boom. And this is like kind of like a flaw for the Bears. They can't fly. A majority of the Decepticons are jets or helicopters or some kind of vehicle that can fly. What are the Bears gonna do against them? Unless the Bears have like jetpacks or something, there's nothing they can do. They're just gonna like sit there and just die eventually of starvation because I can guarantee you the Seekers, once they discover, hey, they can't hurt us, they're going to sit in the air and just fire projectiles and just projectile spam until the Bears either die of starvation, they die from the projectiles, or the Bears just give up. Because there's nothing they can do. To get around this kind of cheap outcome, I'm just going to allow the Bears to do a bear ladder to reach the flying Decepticons. But in all reality, I don't think this will change the outcome of the fight because I still believe that the Bears are going to lose the fight solely because of firepower. And I want to go over the Transformer that I believe has probably the easiest or the best chance to defeat the Bears. And it's actually a group of three, the Combiners.
Leave no trace of their insidious existence.
Okay, I know I may be going a little overboard with this one, but I could easily use extremely powerful combiners like the Predaking, Nexus Prime, other people like that. I'm not going to, but I believe the combiners are truly the best foil to the entire bear argument. With any jokes y'all can make about Bear Ladder or like Beartron or something like that, this actually, like, that's what the combiners do. I'm talking about the main three from the original G1 cartoon, which is what I've been basing this whole video off of. I'm not getting into like, I don't know, IDW comics, anything like that, the games, the War for Cybertron shows. I'm not getting into that because I feel like that gets a little too complicated. I'm going off of the original show and the original canon. So the first combiner is Menasor. Menasor is formed from the Stunticons. Then there is Devastator, who is formed by the Constructicons. And finally is Bruticus, who is formed from the Combaticons. Now, all three of these combiners are formed of five-man teams or five-man transformers that all transform into different parts of the body, being the arms, legs, torso, and the head is just from one of the main uh, combiners or one of the main transformers that is in the combination. So I want to put this in perspective how much bigger the combiners are compared to your average transformer. So the average transformer, like I said earlier, is around 12 foot to 20 foot tall. And I'm just going to say 15 feet tall. 15 feet tall is the size of the shin and boot. Like the bottom part of their leg is 15 feet tall. It combined that with even like how big they get because of the combination, they are easily even taller. And because of the inconsistent scaling in G1, it made this calculation kind of hard. But I took the average transformer, so I was just going to use one of the legs as an example, around 15 feet tall. Times that by three, because I'm pretty sure that's their leg is like a third of their body. Times that by three, that is 45 feet tall. Now, granted, this isn't entirely accurate because again, G1 scaling can be really wonky, but 45 feet tall is a good rough estimate of how tall the combiners really are. So I think that puts it into perspective how unfair this whole thing really was. Originally, I kind of started thinking like this is a stupid argument. Of course the Transformers would win. But then I got more into it and I honestly thought that the Bears have a decent chance. But then I kept researching into it and I just realized the Transformers, their arsenals are just too much for the Bears. The Bears don't have a counter for a majority of what the Transformers can do. And I think that these three alone, I think they have a solid chance of taking out a majority of the billion Bears. Do I think they could do it all? Absolutely not. Honestly, they would probably get tired and eventually just give up because again, 1 billion is genuinely such a big number. I don't really think any of the Transformers alone could take on like a billion bears on their own. I don't really think any of them can do that other than a select few. Like again, the Primes, the Titans, things like that. I don't have any disregard in my mind saying that they couldn't. But the average Transformer like Ironhide or Jazz, I don't think they could take on a billion bears solely because of the sheer number of them would overwhelm them. And y'all know Ironhide. That man is a beast. He is known for his strength and endurance. But it's just too much for him. He couldn't handle it. So, yeah, that's that's my take on it. I believe every Transformer could beat 1 billion bears in a fight. So I want to thank y'all for watching to the end. I don't really have a little script planned for the end of it, but if you watch till the end, I really appreciate it. This is the first video of many to come. I got a new computer, I got an editing software on my PC, got my GoPro out again, got a new SD card, and I'm coming in full swinging. I'm really hoping that I can create an audience and start making content for you guys to enjoy. I don't really think I'm going to do a lot of Transformers content, so if you're thinking I'm going to be a Transformers YouTuber, I'm sorry to say I'm not going to be. I love Transformers, but I don't want to limit myself with just one franchise. I want to be a variety type content creator, maybe some comedy skits like YouTubers like Plain Rock 124 or just media review like Diamond Bolt, people like that. So, yeah, comment, like, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this, yeah, leave a like, subscribe, something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah. Thank y'all.